Hey friends, let's talk about Conquering Valley Fever, a tactical guide for dogs and their humans. So, I decided to take all the information that I talk about with my clients about their dogs with valley fever and put it into a book so more people can get a hold of my protocols. And this has been real helpful for a lot of pet parents already. It's available on Amazon at www.conqueringvalleyfever.com. And I just want to show you some stuff that's in here. Um, so I do go over conventional treatment for valley fever. I know that's a lot of vets have a concern about that. Am I going to recommend conventional therapy? Because right now I'm mostly a holistic vet, but when treating valley fever, I realize that conventional medicine is extremely important because valley fever is serious in people and pets. And you need both conventional therapies and holistic therapies. So you need an integrative approach. And that's the way that I can help dogs get better faster, get those titers to come down faster, get them feeling better faster, get the cough under control quicker so the pet parents can sleep at night. Um, there are a lot of benefits to adding holistic strategies to the conventional medications. So you not only get an immune system boost, which helps the dog help themselves get over valley fever. Um, the there are a lot of holistic approaches or strategies that will reduce the side effects from the antifungals like the azoles. It's incredible. These dogs feel better faster. They get better faster. Their titers get to negative. They don't need to be on medication for the rest of their life, and they have a much better prognosis for recovery and to avoid dying, which is really important because valley fever can be fatal. It's no fun. Okay. Um, so it's got my story in here too. When life calls you to show up, the spores that sparked my purpose. And I've got pictures of my patients in here and stories about them in each of the chapters. So you'll see some real life stories about my patients that I've treated for valley fever. And then my story is kind of a complicated story. And I actually have more YouTube videos. Actually, I have 3 YouTube videos about my story about how I got valley fever and recovered from valley fever because it took 3 videos to get it all in there. I think I lost my voice trying to do it in all one video because I had valley fever twice and I recovered twice, and I probably still have it. Like I've got disseminated valley fever, so I still have some symptoms, but not really. Um, so I'm doing good, but I still take my supplements. Okay, so um, Katie, this is Katie. This picture, Katie was my dog. So on the first chapter, that's Katie. And she's the reason I started all this, and she's the reason I got valley fever the second time. So you'll read all about it in here. So I talk about, why I started this, and then when everything goes sideways, because what I thought I knew about valley fever, I didn't. Um, it really shocked the heck out of me. Basically, 2 of my dogs died. And as a veterinarian that specializes in valley fever, for something like that to happen to me was beyond comprehension because my patients have always done really awesome. And in this situation, for some reason, things just went sideways. So that got me really thinking and thinking about all the pet parents that are struggling with a dog with valley fever and wanting options. And they're the veterinarian, a pet parent's veterinarian is so important because you need to assess the dog, run the blood work, recommend comprehensive blood work, get them on the right drugs, and follow them along to make sure things are going okay and make sure that they clear the valley fever and don't get complications. And if they get complications, you need to address them. This book is also awesome for veterinarians because it gives you the information to help your pet parents know what else is out there. So, even if you don't read it, if you just recommend this book to your pet parents, it's going to take a lot of stress off of you because it basically gives them all the strategies that they can use to help their dog get better. And it also talks about how to collaborate with you, their veterinarian, and respectfully advocate for their dog because that's important. It goes both ways, right? So in chapter 1, we decode the enemy, the facts, the fungus, and the dog's immune system. So I go over, what the heck valley fever is, how they got it, and what to do. Okay. And what the heck is valley fever all about? I also have at the end of each chapter a human element, which is my story. So it's about people with valley fever. Basically, it's about me and how I dealt with my valley fever and all the ups and downs and the pitfalls and my journey with valley fever. And then chapter 2 is connecting the dots, how to make sense of valley fever's confusing symptoms. So there are some symptoms that people are not aware of, pet parents. Most veterinarians are aware of all these symptoms, but they can be kind of sneaky, and pet parents sometimes don't realize that, maybe they're under the impression that valley fever causes a cough and flu-like symptoms and that kind of thing. But when their dog's seizures, they don't realize that seizure is linked to the valley fever. And I've had that happen with pet parents. They didn't realize that the seizure was part of the valley fever. So this goes over all the different symptoms, like acute symptoms, like the flu-like symptoms, but also the real complicated symptoms, like the pericardial effusion, the kidney failure, the liver problems, and then like the skin issues, masses, like masses in the chest, or bone lesions, which get confused for cancer. I actually have one of my patients in here that happened to them, and it happens a lot. And then I talk about demystifying the tests, how to use lab work to move forward. So this is not about pet parents trying to diagnose their own dog. This is about pet parents understanding what you're telling them, what their veterinarian is telling them. So when a pet parent understands that you want to run a CBC, a chemistry panel, a T4, a cocci titer, maybe check a heartworm 4DX, they understand why. And they have a grasp on, what we do as veterinarians to help their dog. And so with a pet parent that understands this, it makes veterinarian's job a whole lot easier without having to explain this and why it's important. So basically, I'm explaining why it's so important in this book. And it's an easy read. It's easy to understand, but I do go over all the lab work and all the things the common things that we look for, the high proteins, the anemia, the elevated liver enzymes. And when it's an issue that they need to come in and see the vet. Okay, so let's see. And chapter 4 is From Pharma to Fido. Okay. A Balanced Path to Recovery. This is one of my favorite chapters. So I go over the common pharmaceuticals, the common oral pharmaceuticals that pet parents are going to be coming in contact with their veterinarian. Like, fluconazole is usually the first thing that's recommended, and I go over that, and I talk about fluconazole, and I talk about all the other azoles and their indications and their pros and cons, and which ones are indicated for which types of valley fever. So this is just a lot of really great information, very practical information for both pet parents and veterinarians, especially veterinarians in non-endemic states that are not familiar with valley fever. This would be awesome. But even for veterinarians in endemic states, like maybe new vets that, have to figure out valley fever when they move to Arizona, like I did freaking 35 years ago. Let me read you this. This is really interesting. So, Dr. Judy Morgan is a holistic vet. She's a certified veterinary acupuncturist. She's certified in veterinary chiropractic and food therapy. And she's also an integrative veterinarian. So she did conventional medicine like I did, and then moved to more a holistic approach. But she read my book before it was published, and this is what she said. Valley fever presents unique challenges that require innovative, comprehensive approaches. Dr. Dragos demonstrates how combining rigorous veterinary science with time-tested natural therapies can optimize recovery outcomes. Her personal journey with the disease adds authenticity and depth that makes this book an invaluable resource for both pet families and veterinary professionals. And actually, I wrote this book for pet parents. And after she wrote this for me, I was like, wow, she's right. This is great for vets. All right, so onward. So in this chapter on Pharma to Fido, I go over the pharmaceuticals. I also go over the common pharmaceuticals that are used for things like pain and appetite issues and coughing and all the things that come up with dogs with valley fever. But I also go over some very common, simple herbal remedies that can be added to the pharmaceuticals to improve the immune system of the dog, to help with coughing, to help with their appetite. So I go over other options that are easy to do. Okay, and I have in each chapter, I have a patient that is an example of what I talk about in that chapter. And then again, I go over my story regarding an integrative approach and whatever I do that pertains to that chapter. So chapter 5 is Food is Medicine, and feeding your dog for recovery and resilience. This is a really important chapter because diet or food is the number one determinant of a healthy immune system. So what you feed your dog is one of the biggest foundations of health and will make the biggest difference in their immune function and their ability to get over valley fever. So this talks about the why and the how, and it also goes into the energetics of food, which is kind of cool. And you can take this whole idea of traditional Chinese medicine, food energetics, and pull it into a practical strategy about what to feed your dog for recovery to improve their chance of recovery and to help with the symptoms of valley fever. So it's easy to understand. It's kind of a complicated subject, but I have gotten some feedback that it was easy to understand, so that's good. All right, so and each chapter has a QR code, and I actually have a workbook that goes along with this. It's a free workbook, so pet parents can scan the QR code, or there's there's a link that they can just put into their computer. It's conqueringvalleyfever.com/workbook. And they can download the workbook for free. It's got all kinds of information in there and helps you basically organize your thoughts and organize your dog's journey, and where, it has check boxes and things to fill in to figure out, where you're at or where your dog is at. And it helps you figure out what to do along the way. And it follows the book with each chapter. So that can help pet parents um, document their journey. And then when they document their journey, they can bring that information into their vet. So the vets can help figure out what's going on, and what needs to be tweaked and what they can do to help. All right, chapter 6 is Healing Hands and Hopeful Steps, a gentle path to wellness through movement. So physical therapy is extremely important for recovery because movement helps the immune system. When we move, it basically activates the vagus nerve, and helps with nerve conduction, helps with digestion, helps with relaxation. Movement also helps the lymphatics, so it helps the lymph flow in the body, which is a major part of your immune system. So movement is important. And granted, a lot of dogs, when they first get valley fever, they feel like crap and they can't do a lot of movement. But I go over things that people can do, such as massage. And there are just things you can do along the way based on where your dog is at in their journey with valley fever, as far as all the different physical therapies. So I go over everything from massage to hyperbaric oxygen. And it depends on where your dog is at in their journey, honestly, what you can do, because you can't do a lot of heavy, crazy physical therapy stuff if they're feeling sick. So this goes over, things that I would recommend at different stages. And the workbook will help you also figure that out for your dog. It gives you general areas to check off to see where your dog is in their journey and what physical therapies would be appropriate. All right, and I talk about my body's wisdom because I did physical therapy too, and it was tough at first, but I powered through, and I made it. Chapter 7 is Breaking Up with Kibble, a practical guide to diet transition. So this is a really tough thing for pet parents because once they figure out that what they're feeding their dog matters, then they're like, okay, well, how do I switch them now? And some dogs are not eating well already, and they're picky, and they don't like new things. So this goes over, how to transition to a healthy diet, and tips and tricks that I've learned along the way that I share, and how to do that. Because you can, it's possible. And usually dogs will transition to a fresh food diet fabulously because it's so much yummier than little hard brown balls that are not very tasty at all. They're like cardboard. I wouldn't want to eat them either. All right, chapter 8, Meds Without Mayhem. Not good at this. Meds Without Mayhem. We got a little picture of Houston on there. Keeping your bond strong during treatment. This is a tough one. So it's a whole chapter on giving medication because that's usually not discussed at the vet's office. Maybe the technicians will help clients, but it's not something that a veterinarian is going to sit there and help you troubleshoot how to give your dog these pills. They're just like, here, give them these pills. But it's hard because you don't want to stress your dog out. And there's a scientific reason why you don't want to stress your dog out. When you stress your dog out by cranking the mouth open and stuffing the pills down their throat and traumatizing your dog, literally, that suppresses the immune system. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to improve their immune system so they can get over valley fever. So every time you have a WWE event trying to give medication to your dog, you're trashing their immune system. So we need to find ways to give medication as stress-free as possible. And this goes over all kinds of different ways that you can accomplish that with your dog. And it depends on your dog's personality. So I give you all kinds of ways and strategies to give medication and ways to keep your bond strong with your dog. You want to keep a strong emotional bond and you don't want to be the bad guy. Nobody wants to be the bad guy. And then I talk about me taking medication because some of the medication I took was really disgusting. So chapter 9 is be the advocate your dog needs. Building a collaborative healthcare team. This is a really good chapter for pet parents and for veterinarians because it's really important for pet parents and veterinarians to respect each other. It's important that pet parents find a veterinarian that they resonate with, that they trust, and then and a veterinarian that they could be respectful with. And that is a good relationship. And that way you're both focusing on what's best for your dog. And that's what's important is what's best for your dog. You want your dog to get the best medical care, and you want to be able to talk to your vet, and you want your vet to want to talk to you. Okay. So I talk about collaboration, and collaboration goes both ways. Okay. You both have to be trustworthy. Yeah. And Spencer's mom is a really excellent example of that. And because she had a little bit of a tough time getting a diagnosis, but she remained friends with her veterinarian and got her dog the best care. All right. Chapter 10, stop waiting to take action, why timing matters with valley fever. So this is kind of a wrap up and starting the conclusion on, and this is basically talking about why the wait and see method is not good with valley fever. You don't want to wait and see. You want to do something. And this book gives you all kinds of things you can do, literally. All right. And then everything you need is already within you, love, knowledge, and intuition. So, and that's Kit. Kit is a remarkable dog, absolutely remarkable. You won't believe her story. So you'll have to get the book to find out her story. But by the time you get to this chapter, you're going to be confident in what you need to do, what's going on, what could happen, and how to prevent bad things from happening.